extending mercy to others, forgiving as we've been forgiven. I want to take you back to a moment so real, so raw, that you can almost feel the air leave your lungs. Imagine standing face to face with someone who just destroyed your life. Literally destroyed it. They took away everything that made your life meaningful. Your family, your dreams, your hope, the anger, the pain, and the hatred are boiling inside you. Your heart screams for justice, for revenge, but instead of vengeance, something extraordinary happens. You choose mercy. You choose forgiveness. You look into the eyes of the person who hurt you the most, and you whisper, "I forgive you." And in that instant, you feel a peace you've never known. A peace that doesn't make sense, but it's real. Today, you and I are going on an extraordinary journey, one that will challenge everything you've ever believed about forgiveness, mercy, and the incredible teachings of Jesus Christ. Because the truth is, mercy is powerful. Forgiveness changes lives, not just the lives of those who are forgiven, but ours, too. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy, but it might just be the single most life-changing decision you'll ever make. Are you ready to learn how to forgive? Truly forgive, as Jesus forgave you? Because by the end of this video, your life might never be the same again. Let's jump right in. Picture this. You're sitting at home, scrolling through your phone, and suddenly, you see a familiar face pop up. A face you promised yourself you'd never forgive. Maybe it's an old friend who betrayed your trust, an ex who broke your heart, or even a family member who hurt you deeply. Instantly, the memories flood back, and with them comes the sharp sting of bitterness. Now imagine something different. What if, instead of lingering on that pain, you chose mercy? What if you responded, not with hatred, but with love? You see, Jesus said something that still shakes me to my core every time I hear it. If you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Matthew chapter 6 verse 14. It sounds simple, right? But let's get real. It's anything but easy, yet it's incredibly powerful. I want you to meet a woman named Amanda. Amanda's husband was tragically killed in a senseless robbery. She was devastated, consumed by rage and sorrow. Every waking moment she imagined facing her husband's killer and unleashing all her pain. But one day, something unexpected happened. Amanda found herself sitting in a courtroom, looking directly into the eyes of her husband's murderer, a young man who had destroyed her family. But instead of anger, she felt compassion, an overwhelming mercy that made no earthly sense. Fighting back tears, she stood up, looked straight at him, and said, "I forgive you." The room fell silent. The killer broke down, sobbing, and in that moment, Amanda felt free from the chains of anger that had imprisoned her heart for years. Stories like Amanda's aren't isolated miracles. They're practical demonstrations of Jesus' teachings in action. You see, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or dismissing the pain. It means choosing to extend the same mercy we've received from God, even when it feels impossible. But why is this mercy so critical? Why should you forgive someone who hurt you deeply? Because holding on to bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Bitterness destroys your peace, your joy, your ability to live fully. But mercy frees you. It liberates your heart, restores relationships, and opens the door to unimaginable blessings. Let's rewind the clock 2,000 years and look at Jesus himself. Picture the scene. Jesus is hanging on a cross, bleeding, beaten, betrayed. Soldiers are mocking him, gambling over his clothes. His closest friends have deserted him. In unimaginable agony, Jesus looks up to heaven and says something incredible. "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Luke chapter 23 verse 34. Can you even fathom that kind of mercy? It was radical. It was revolutionary. It was mercy extended at the darkest moment in history. Now here's the question. If Jesus could forgive in his most painful moment, what's stopping us from forgiving others today? What's keeping you from letting go of that bitterness, that pain, that grudge you've been holding onto for years? Here's another powerful truth. Mercy doesn't only change the forgiven, it profoundly transforms the forgiver. When we forgive, we become more like Jesus. We open ourselves to deeper relationships, to peace, and to a joy we've never known. I want you to think deeply about this. Who do you need to forgive right now? Who's that one person you said you'd never forgive? Maybe it's yourself. Maybe you can't forgive yourself for past mistakes, regrets, or failures. Maybe you're haunted by decisions you made, relationships you broke, promises you failed to keep. I need you to hear this. Forgiveness isn't just for others. It's for you, too. Remember the parable of the prodigal son? It's a story Jesus told about a young man who squandered everything, hurt his father deeply, and ended up broken and hopeless. When the young man finally decided to come home, he expected punishment. Instead, his father saw him from afar, ran to him, embraced him, and forgave him completely. That's exactly how God forgives us. Instantly, fully, joyfully. If that's how God forgives us, shouldn't we forgive ourselves the same way? Maybe right now, you're feeling a tug on your heart, a whisper telling you it's time to let go, to forgive, to extend mercy. Listen to it, because that voice might just be the voice of God, inviting you into a life of freedom, joy, and peace beyond anything you've ever imagined. But wait, I haven't even begun to share some of the most incredible stories of forgiveness and mercy you've ever heard. Coming up next is a miraculous story you won't believe, a moment when forgiveness literally saved lives. So keep watching, because trust me, you've never heard anything quite like this before. Are you ready to witness the incredible moment forgiveness actually saved lives? Imagine standing in front of a man who tried to kill you, and choosing to forgive him anyway. Impossible? Not for one person you're about to meet. Let me introduce you to Peter, a missionary who survived an attack that should have taken his life. One night, while working in a hostile region, Peter was ambushed by a group of rebels intent on killing him. Miraculously, he survived, but years later, Peter found himself face to face with the very man who had led that brutal attack. Instead of running or fighting, Peter did something radical. He extended mercy. He forgave. He embraced the very person who once sought his death. And you know what happened? The rebel leader was so stunned by Peter's forgiveness that he dedicated his own life to spreading the message of mercy and peace. Today, both men travel together, teaching forgiveness in some of the most dangerous places on earth. Now here's what blows my mind. Mercy didn't just heal Peter's heart. It literally saved lives. Forgiveness is powerful beyond anything we can imagine. It has the power to break cycles of violence, hatred, and revenge. It can transform enemies into allies, bitterness into peace, despair into hope. What if you could do the same thing? What if your act of mercy could start a chain reaction of healing and peace? Because, honestly, it can. But there's even more to come. Next, you're going to witness a moment so powerful, it changed an entire community forever. You won't believe the depth of mercy and forgiveness you're about to see. Keep watching, because trust me, you've never seen anything like this. Are you prepared to witness the unforgettable moment an entire community was forever changed by forgiveness? Imagine a bustling community filled with life, laughter, and dreams, but in a single, horrifying moment, everything shatters. Picture this clearly. It was a bright Sunday morning, the sun spilling warmly through stained glass windows of a small town church. Families were gathered in worship, smiles and songs filling the sanctuary. Suddenly, without warning, a man bursts through the doors, armed and angry. In an instant, joy turns to terror, singing to screams, hope to heartbreak. Lives are lost, families destroyed, a community left reeling. Now, imagine you're standing in the aftermath of this tragedy. The news headlines are screaming for justice, revenge, punishment. The community is filled with grief and anger, their hearts torn apart. But instead of joining the cries for vengeance, something astonishing happens, something that shocks the entire world. The families who lost their loved ones step forward, and in front of the cameras, with tears streaming down their faces, they say these unthinkable words: "We forgive him." The world stood still. How could they forgive such unspeakable violence? How could mercy possibly emerge from such darkness? But here's the truth. Their forgiveness didn't erase the pain or justify the violence. Instead, it did something even more miraculous. It broke the chains of hatred, bitterness, and endless cycles of revenge. It restored hope, healing, and unity. It transformed a tragedy into a powerful message of grace that resonated across the globe. Forgiveness didn't make sense, but it changed everything. Now, let's be honest. Most of us might never face something quite as dramatic or devastating. But the pain we experience in everyday life is just as real, just as deep. Betrayals from friends, broken families, painful divorces, bitter rivalries. We've all been wounded by someone. And every time we're hurt, we face a critical choice. Will we hold on to bitterness? Or will we choose mercy? Jesus knew exactly how hard this was. He didn't pretend forgiveness was easy. In fact, when Peter once asked Jesus how many times he should forgive someone, he confidently suggested 7 times, thinking he was being incredibly generous. Jesus replied, "No, 70 times 7. In other words, never stop forgiving." That's radical, that's hard, but that's exactly what we're called to do. Here's something deeply personal. I struggled with forgiveness myself. Several years ago, I experienced a betrayal that nearly destroyed my life. Someone I deeply trusted stabbed me in the back, spreading lies and rumors that shattered my reputation and career. The pain was overwhelming. Every day, I carried the weight of bitterness. It consumed me, until one day, I read a verse that rocked me to my core. "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy." Matthew chapter 5 verse 7. It hit me. How could I, someone who desperately needed God's mercy, refuse to offer mercy myself? So, trembling and terrified, I made the hardest phone call of my life. I dialed the number of the person who had hurt me the most. And with a shaking voice, I said, "I forgive you." It wasn't easy. It wasn't comfortable, but it was life-changing. Instantly, I felt a weight lift off my chest, a freedom I can't describe. And guess what? That phone call didn't just change me. It changed them too. Our relationship slowly healed, and today we stand side by side as powerful testimonies of the unbelievable mercy of God. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. Right now, as you're watching this, I know someone comes to mind. That one person you're struggling to forgive. Maybe they've wounded you deeply. Maybe they've never apologized. Maybe they're still hurting you. But today, I'm asking you, no, begging you, to choose mercy, because your decision to forgive is more powerful than you can ever imagine. Mercy breaks the chains that hold your heart captive. Mercy creates miracles in relationships. Mercy can change your world. Because forgiveness isn't weakness, it's strength. It's courage. It's the purest reflection of God's love in action. Now, here's the truth. Forgiving someone doesn't always mean reconciling or pretending everything is fine. Forgiveness is choosing to let go of your right to revenge, to release that bitterness to God, trusting Him to heal your heart and handle justice. Forgiveness sets you free, free to heal, to love, to live fully again. Think deeply about this. Who is your forgiveness waiting for? Who needs your mercy today? What bitterness have you been carrying that's slowly poisoning your heart? Could today be the day you finally let go? Because mercy matters, not just for them, but for you. Let me tell you another incredible story. There was a man named Chris. For years, Chris struggled with anger and bitterness because of deep wounds from his childhood. His father was abusive, neglectful, cruel, Chris vowed never to forgive him. He wore his anger like armor. But one day, everything changed. Chris encountered Jesus' teachings about forgiveness, and he knew he had a decision to make. Reluctantly, painfully, Chris decided to forgive his father. He wrote a letter, pouring out every ounce of pain, hurt, and resentment, and ended it with the words, "I forgive you." When his father received it, something extraordinary happened. His father broke down and wept. For the first time ever, Chris's father admitted his wrongs, apologized deeply, and begged for Chris's forgiveness. That moment transformed Chris's family forever. Today, father and son share a bond they never dreamed possible. One built on mercy, healing, and grace. Forgiveness changed their lives forever. Stories like this aren't just inspirational. They're transformational. They're practical demonstrations of Christ's mercy alive today. You see, Jesus didn't just preach forgiveness. He lived it. When Jesus forgave sinners, healed the sick, touched lepers, dined with outcasts, he wasn't just being nice. He was teaching us something crucial. Mercy is powerful, practical, life-changing. Today, you have a choice. Will you keep carrying bitterness, pain, and resentment? Or will you trust Jesus enough to choose mercy? Will you forgive as you've been forgiven? Now, if you thought these stories were powerful, you're not ready for what's next. Because coming up, I'm going to share a moment so astonishing, so life-changing, you'll never look at forgiveness the same way again. Are you ready to experience the most powerful story of mercy ever told? 2,000 years ago, on a dusty hill called Golgotha, a story unfolded that changed humanity forever. Imagine standing at the foot of the cross, staring up at Jesus, innocent yet condemned, suffering unspeakable agony for crimes he didn't commit. He looked down at those who crucified him, those who mocked him, those who betrayed him, and whispered these unimaginable words, "Father, forgive them." In that single moment, Jesus showed us the ultimate act of mercy. He forgave even while being tortured and killed. He forgave when he had every reason to condemn. He forgave you and me, knowing every sin we'd commit, every betrayal we'd carry out, every mistake we'd ever make. This is the mercy we've been given. Mercy beyond understanding. And today, it's the mercy we're called to extend to others. I don't know your story, but I know your pain. I know forgiving feels impossible sometimes. But if Jesus, beaten and bleeding, could forgive his executioners, what could stop us from forgiving today? Forgiveness changed history. It can change your life too. Right now, I'm challenging you, yes, you watching this, to do something radical. Take out your phone, text someone who hurt you deeply and say 3 simple words, "I forgive you." Do it now. Don't wait, because mercy can't wait, healing can't wait, freedom can't wait. Imagine what could happen next. Imagine the chains breaking, relationships healing, hearts mending. Imagine the mercy you've received from God flowing freely through your life, transforming everyone it touches. You see, forgiving as we've been forgiven isn't optional. It's our calling, our purpose, our freedom. Mercy matters. And today, it starts with you. Forgive deeply, love radically, live freely. Because this isn't just how Jesus forgave, it's how he invites us to live. Now, the next step is yours. Go, extend mercy, and watch your world change forever.